And this player that has already gotten off to a great start last year in his official rookie season, Triston Casas on the Boston Red Sox. A lot of people were comparing last year with the Rookie of the Year, also with Josh Young with the Rangers. But Casas is a tremendous hitter with so much upside that I'm going to dive in and explain why he is a part of the Red Sox future. And Birdland's going to have to be very careful because he can put up some big numbers. But I put this chart up earlier today while I was just chilling at 5 Irons making this little presentation. This is Triston Casas' hitting chart. And people were going, wait a minute, wow, he kind of hits the ball everywhere. And it's very impressive when you're looking at it, and it is. The point is Casas likes to drive the ball all over the field. And if you're looking at more of the pinkish color, those are home runs, purple, double. He's not known for speed, so he's not going to have too many triples, but he does have that one there, and that will be in the highlight. But if I play through this next clip here, because I want people to understand this, okay? Thanks to Baseball Savant for the chart before. This is on Baseball Reference. I want you guys to understand. First month of the season for Casas was really rough. He hit 265 for the season, but overall, that first month of April and March, $133. And didn't somebody on the Baltimore Orioles have a rough start to their season? Gunnar Henderson turned out to be the MVP. But if you look at what he did, specifically his month of July, which he was one of the best hitters in all of baseball, he hit 349, 7 home runs, 13 RBIs. But you can see the progression of what he's capable of doing. When he's on, he can do some things that are really, really cool. Let's talk about how well he can do those things, shall we? So this is the first at bat here. This is that one triple that you saw, that one little yellow mark. Casas has power everywhere. He's a big, strong dude. And this is going to be a changeup away. And Casas should have been a home run. It was that close. But just showing you how extended he can get, drive the ball the other way with authority. And in this case right now, 1-0 count. He does some serious damage. So here it is. We're going to play it through. And right there, that's not a terrible pitch. Yes, it's up, and it's kind of a hard changeup. But Casas stays through the baseball. And look at the carry on that. And what I'm saying, like it very well could have been a home run, that ball is almost 400 feet or is 400 feet out there in Arizona. Great swing by him. This stretch of hits that he has is so impressive because they're against some of baseball's best. Spencer Strider here. Braves, one of the best pitchers out there, a big strikeout guy, right? Casas right here is going to get a kind of cut slider that's going to hang up, but we saw that power to left center. How about the power to center right here? Casas, ball right down the middle, slider, cutter, whatever you want to call it, drives it out of the ballpark. Deepest part of the park there at Fenway. He's feeling good. He's feeling frisky. And just to give you a context, again, this is why I want people to understand the full hitter that Triston Casas is. We went to left. We went to center. Where do you think we're going next, Zach?
Right.
We're going to right. Framber Valdez, one of the toughest pitchers, especially for lefties to face. 3-2 count here. Casas is going to drive the ball. It's going to be like a 2-seamer running in. And for Casas, obviously for a lefty, you kind of want to lean going out at times. It's just a habit. But you got to stay on this, especially when the ball runs in on you. Casas gets his hands to it, and you can see, really tough pitch, 97 miles an hour, hooks it down the line, double. Really, really impressive swing here. There's just so many good things you can go off of with his game. And I know it's people thinking, well, Ryan, it's not the Orioles. Well, I appreciate really good players, and especially if you're going to see really great players, you want to, one, have appreciation, but two, you got to understand what they're capable of doing. So here's another one. Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers in the game. Casas actually took him deep twice. And this was the stretch run for him. So that's a pitch right there. Is cutter, middle in, drives it. Next at bat, guess what? Fastball in, almost same spot location. And Casas is feeling good. This stretch run right here, he hit against Logan Webb, Strider, and Max Scherzer. And that was his month where he hit 349 with 7 home runs. When he's locked in, he can hit some of the best. Luis Castillo right here. Really underrated pitching for the Seattle Mariners last year because no one really is focusing a ton on the East Coast about him. Has great stuff, deception, sink. First pitch swinging, he's going to throw a slider, but Casas is ready and drives this ball. If you make a mistake, and that pitch is middle, he's going to make you pay for it. And a lot of Major League players do that, but the ones that continue to progress are the ones that can do that. So here's an example of Logan Webb. That was the stretch that I was talking about. And this is kind of what's crazy for me, is that He's going to hit this ball out to almost left center, and this pitch is going to be inside. So in order to do that, he's going to have to specifically keep his hands through the ball, stay on the ball long enough, and to be able to almost shoot it out there, right? He's not going to get too long and get too pool happy because his strength is using that middle part of the field. That really, truly is his strength, because if you can think up the middle, you're going to be capable of doing so much more. Right here, Casas, pitch is kind of running in, and look where this thing ends up. Holy shirts and pants. And not only that, that's an opposite field, I guess, left center field home run, and that ball is crushed on a pitch that he got his hands in. So that's just showing you the upside. Now, though, if there is a part that can get Casas in trouble, and we talked about it briefly a second ago, or I did, was when Casas has the ability or feeling to want to leak off the baseball, okay? So you saw some of those home runs that he pulled his hands in or drove it to right, whatever it may be. He was staying through the baseball, more balanced, under control, and after he got through the baseball, he could finish away. But what can get Casas in trouble a little bit is that sensation to want to come off the baseball a hair too early, because maybe you think that that pitch is the one that you can drive in the middle part of the plate, but it gets you in trouble. And specifically, it's those pitches that are almost middle to low in the zone. So I have a few Orioles here and some other pitchers of showing examples of how that can get Triston Casas into trouble. So the first one here, it's actually Keegan Aiken. Keegan Aiken's going to throw a fastball here. It's a hitter's count, by the way, for Casas. And for Casas, he's a little bit off time, and his first movement goes a little bit more right, at least with that front shoulder. If we're looking at there specifically, what happens? Chop it into the ground. Mountie gives a little bit of a hesitation, maybe a double play, and there's that. Dean Kramer. Dean Kramer's going to throw an excellent pitch right here. Dean, friend of the program. Great hair. You know what we might need to get? We might need to get a big Dean shirt, but then emphasize with the D on Dean Kramer. Stud pitcher, by the way. But what you're going to see right there, see this ball cutting in? It's like a cutter slider that Dean has. We saw Casas do some damage on some pitches earlier there, right? It looks like a good spot. That's a happy place for lefties. Low and in, you can drive the baseball out of the yard. Well, Casas feels good about that, but that also can be his weakness, because that ball is going to keep going in, and he can't cut himself off here, and he's going to swing and miss. Again, really good pitch by Dean. And for Casas, it's, not a bad swing, but you're going to see a pattern of this. Fleming, even though I've seen this guy face this guy, so funky as a lefty-on-left matchup. But again, Fleming's going to run a ball in on him, and because he feels like it's close enough, or that he feels that that's a strength for him to drive the baseball, he's going to swing, and he's going to miss right there. And that ball is way inside. And Fleming, like I said, is super funky. Some guys just mess with you mentally, and sometimes you can't pick it up, because Fleming has it some way right here. I'll move over. It's almost like when he throws, his whole front shoulder when he's about to throw hides the baseball. So you can't even see his arm until way at the very end. It's nuts. And that's why he can throw 91 miles an hour and get hitters out. All right, so there's an example here. Another example, look at this bottom corner. This is where the pitch is going to go. Casas thinks it's a strength. It is. But when you think it's a strength and you try to do a little bit too much, that's a perfectly executed slider right there, cutter. But nonetheless, he pulls off the baseball because he feels like that's a spot. So sometimes as a hitter, or sometimes maybe you guys can relate, when you get a little bit too excited, you get a little bit too jumpy, that you can't help yourself because you see something, your eyes get so big, his eyes gets too big, strikes out. Again, very good pitch, though. All right, another example. This is disgusting. But to give you context of that last pitch, when you have that much filth, and you might say, Ryan, that ball is so far out of the zone. Oviedo is just a stud with that. That was incredible. But again, where does Casas get fooled? He thinks it's going to be in or that lower part of the plate, and he's fooled, and the ball just keeps running in. All right, a couple more clips here going through it. Fastball in, same result, right? Missing it. And here's another one. Where's this pitch going to be, Zach? You want to take a quick guess? Right there? Okay. And again, perfectly executed, but you're seeing a game plan from teams. It's that bottom part of the zone, and a lot of hitters, obviously, it's hard. But lefties love that inside pitch because they feel like they can drop the barrel to it and hit it a mile. And Casas can, and this is the final example that he mashes this ball out of the zone. So he's right to have the idea to swing at it. But this is what can get hitters into trouble. If you go after a strength, but you try to push the envelope a little bit, you can get a hitter as talented as Casas. But you got to make sure you get the pitch away from him, because if not, he's going to hit a hanging changeup that even is not a bad pitch by this right-handed pitcher, De Leon, but it's not good enough to get Casas out right here. So right there, if you watch it, you might think, okay, that's out of the zone, it's low, but that's a pitch that he loves to drive. That's why he keeps swinging at those types of pitches. So if for guys that want to go in there, that ball is launched. And so the reason why I want people to understand this, Casas is one of the bright stars in baseball, and you need to get to know his name. The Orioles are going to see them quite a bit. He, to me, has the potential to hit 30-plus home runs. He had 24 home runs last year. And really after that month of April and March, the first month and a half, or you ever want to consider it, he was sensational for him. Now, he's not going to be known to be this all-around player defensively, but I'll tell you what, the combination of Casas and Devers could be a combination in the American League that can rival some of the best in years to come. Time will tell, but I love everything that he does. And that is your Know Your Foe segment for this week. And let me know who you would like next week